What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Yeasty Boys podcast.
Whoa. Aaron, what are you doing, man?
Sorry. It's old habits die hard, I guess.
Oh my God. This isn't your podcast. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I'm just trying to steal the limelight.
Get out of here.
I'm leaving. Discord leave noise. Doo-doo-doo.
All right, good. Hello, and welcome to the Interstate Gamers Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin, a.k.a. K-Slugs.
My name is Peter, a.k.a. Deal for Real, and I'm also your host.
Well, Pete boy, guess what?
What's that, Kev?
It's time to review our 25th game. And with our 25th game, I'd like to introduce someone pretty special. Please welcome Aaron Miller from the Yeasty Boys Podcast. What's up, Aaron?
I just really want to do that a lot, so you have to edit every single one of those, Peter.
Oh, it's very easy, don't worry.
Okay. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Going pretty good, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's an honor. It's an absolute honor.
So, as you know, well, what game could we be doing with Aaron?
Today, we're going to talk about a game that has swept the world by storm. Over the past couple of years. This game, actually, yeah. Wow. This game, in case you didn't read the title of the episode, is called Fortnite Battle Royale.
You know, I'm kind of wondering, what theme song you've played just now.
Probably.
Oh, yeah. Wait, can you do the classic one?
Yeah,
Like
what's the classic
OG one? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I didn't know there were multiple songs.
It's just like electric guitar, mostly.
Well, since the game is in early beta still, it could change.
Yeah. Early beta.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of the game. I think if they're not in early beta, this is just, I guess, worth talking about since we're reviewing the game.
Right.
But I think if they aren't in early beta, then they can't change it weekly in the Microsoft and Sony stores.
Oh.
So that gives them the opportunity to do that.
That's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If you'll allow me to give my usual little context rundown of
Sure thing, man.
the game. So Fortnite really is multiple games, kind of like how God is kind of, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. It's kind of like that, actually. There's three parts of Fortnite. There's Fortnite Save the World, which is a multiplayer kind of
PvE
survival against zombies sort of game, right? There's Fortnite Battle Royale, which is the one that everyone knows and loves, ? And we'll be talking about it today. And there is Fortnite Creative, which I guess is kind of bundled in with Battle Royale now, but I think it used to be separate or something, but not terribly important distinction there, probably. So they were all created by Epic Games. First came out in the fall of 2017 in early access, and I guess it's still in early access thanks to Aaron's little factoid he shared with us.
Yes.
Fortnite is part of the reason it's so damn popular is because it's a free-to-play game. It thrives on microtransactions, where you can purchase all manner of cosmetics and emotes and other random crapola. And I don't think we need to talk too much about how famous Fortnite is, because unless you're living in the Mariana fucking Trench, if you listen to our podcast, you probably know what this game is.
Yeah, and I would say we've talked before about how uncultured Peter is, but even he knows about this game, so
even me,
it's got to be popular. But I remember when Aaron and I first started playing this game, it was around like fall, winter 2017. I would say winter, I guess, probably around November, December, somewhere around there. But we, boy, those were fun times. I remember we got our first win.
Those were the good old days too, when pretty much everybody camped. You didn't have like anyone that really knew how to build. They knew how to throw a wall up in defense, but you didn't have like triple wall floor ramp pushes and stuff like that. Days. Those were simpler times, simpler days, and good times. And I remember when Kev clutched out the first dub. This shows how simple of a time it was. He shot out a sky base. That's how we won. Those are a thing of the past, but
oh man,
drop Wailing Woods, get 999 wood, and go up to the sky and fly. But yeah, that's a thing of the past. Wailing Wood doesn't even exist anymore.
As you can tell, Aaron is our Fortnite expert and is throwing out all kinds of lingo that we don't know. But yeah,
we hope that you, the listener, can do your best effort to put things together with context clues.
I'll try to tone it down a little bit.
Here. A little bit.
Just a little bit.
One of Aaron's 20 new YouTube channels is actually going to be his Fortnite commentary channel. So we'll talk about that when we get to the plugs at the end of the episode, probably.
Yeah. Oh, boy. I do have one just tiny correction, which there's probably not a whole lot of information on this, but Creative actually came out last, probably last summer. So it's kind of a newer addition to the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, actually. I didn't remember it being part of the package when this was first blown up. So yeah, that makes sense. I am thankful for the correction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peter, can you talk about your experience with Fortnite?
I first downloaded Fortnite to my Switch console about a month ago, maybe. And I played it for like an hour and I was like, oh, this is Fortnite. And then put it away. And then this week on Monday, I played for the first actual time, actual TM, with these boys here on the podcast. And I actually had a pretty good time.
Hey-o.
And we played again on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I played by myself for maybe like an hour and a half. I actually got 5th place in a solo by actually camping and using those 2017 strats that I've heard so much about.
There you go.
And it actually worked out pretty well for me. And I did enjoy staying in the corner for about 10 minutes while other people duked it out.
It's actually quite the strat now because literally nobody, and I mean nobody, expects that move anymore because it's such an old move that when you were camping under that ramp, the story you told us about, and you just bopped that guy in the head and got, was that your first kill in the game?
No, I had gotten a couple kills, but I think I've only gotten like 6 total, so still very early in my killing career.
Not bad for a new adopter of the game.
Yeah. What can I say? I'm a gamer, man.
Hey, gamers are gonna game.
Gamers got a game. Well, let's. I guess if we've got enough context, why don't we talk about the gameplay a little bit?
Sure. I will provide my other
Visual
context. Mechanics. Yeah, like basic mechanics, basic game flow, all that stuff. So it's a battle royale, which means the last person or the last team standing wins the game. You and your 100 or 99 other opponents or teammates, or however it's divvied up. You all are in a battle bus that flies high above this map, a very large map on an island. And you guys all drop down and you parachute to whatever location you choose. You find weapons and resources. You can use your trusty pickaxe to destroy buildings, destroy trees, destroy almost everything that isn't like literal terrain. It's actually pretty impressive. And you gather different resources that you can use to build structures, which Aaron had mentioned earlier. Building walls, building ramps, doing all that stuff on the fly. And there's some elements of randomness to the game. Like I think what exact weapons spawn is random. I don't know if the location of weapons is random. Aaron, can you chime in really quick with that?
It's completely random, basically, all the way down from rarity, which the rarity goes from gray, green, blue, purple, and gold being the greatest. And you just basically, anything can spawn anywhere. And so it's completely random. And that's one of the most frustrating things about the game.
Frustrating, but also gives it some replay value, I think. I remember reading a little bit about the creation of Fortnite and other games like it, which I'll get to in a second. But they were saying that, randomness is part of what keeps the game interesting. Because otherwise it's the same map every time. And it is a big map, but having some randomness can vary things.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll pass the mic to someone else after I say this last little bit, which is that Fortnite is not the most unique Battle Royale game in the world, except for the building mechanic, which I think was new to this type of game when it came out. And I don't know if any other games have adopted it, but for example, the most immediate predecessor to this game was PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, also known as PUBG, which was very similar mechanically to this game, but didn't have the building structure. So Fortnite definitely added something new in that regard, but otherwise the gameplay is very similar to that game. Also, I forgot to mention that there is a storm that forms around the edge of the map and continually closes into the map as the game progresses. So it forces players to engage with each other, and it kind of just moves the gameplay along. I think that covers most of the basic mechanics, if not all of them. Do you guys have any comments you'd like to chime in with?
Yeah, so when you're talking about gameplay, if we're just going to get right into the rankings of things, we're talking about gameplay for Fortnite. It's hard not to talk about battle royales in general. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, I've had a lot of fun with battle royales in general, as just kind of like a general gameplay kind of way. Just, like it's you against everybody in the environment. And I think what's really interesting about that is that most of the time, the environment is so big. I would say with the exception of like, what's the new one? Apex. Mm-hmm. Apex isn't huge. And I guess that's one thing that I kind of give Fortnite points on is how big the map is and how like immersive the map is. Like, the area very well, but it's also like, I don't know. The maps are a lot of fun. They're very unique. They're very, engaging.
It's ever evolving, which is a pretty cool aspect as well.
It's like it's evolving, but it's like at the same time it's familiar. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a really good thing that it had going for it. But I think a lot of people don't like to camp; they like to rush out there a lot. But for me personally, I could take it or leave it. But I like just roaming a world with my buds and just kind of tackling adversity with my buds. I mean, that's kind of what Fortnite's all about when you think about it. I mean, there are solo modes, but who wouldn't want to squad up with your homies and just,
drop in with the boys.
With the boys.
Drop in with the boys.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, and kind of echoing off what you said with it being a battle royale, battle royales, I had never played one before Fortnite, and Apex was the only other one I've ever played. And I guess I played Call of Duty Blackout like twice. But winning a battle royale gives you this feeling that you really don't feel from any other game, at least that I haven't. It's just you realize that you beat 99 other players in that map, and it's just kind of it's a very rewarding feeling. So that's, I think, maybe one thing that kind of has really launched the success of Fortnite is
true.
Just that accomplishment, because it took me probably 2 months till I got my first like solo victory. And I just every day I was trying to get it and just going for that ultimate goal. And then they've done a really good job with constantly changing the map, doing events. I don't know if y'all heard about the Marshmallow event. Are y'all familiar with that?
I am not.
No.
It was a virtual concert live by the artist Marshmallow.
What?
Yeah, and he live recorded his voice and like DJ'd the event, and there was him in the game. He actually sold his skin in the game, and he was like there, like behind a DJ stand, and everyone like just dropped in the map and started dancing around. It was a really cool like event. I thought it was going to be cheesy, but I like was with like some of my grown men, adult friends, and we were just like cheesing and like grinning and just having a great time. And they were like, what just happened? So they're really good at just, I don't know, grabbing everyone from every age too. It's insane how wildly popular the game is. And I think that goes along with what you said, Pete, with the guns like constantly changing. You might not get your favorite gun that last game, and then when you get it, then you're real excited to have that gun. And then the map being huge. There's a lot of aspects of the game that they've done really well with that I don't know. It's a formula for success.
I think so too. I think to speak to what Kevin was saying earlier, like granted I only have maybe like 8 hours of gameplay or so, and I haven't won yet. And I also I don't have a lot of experience with modern first-person shooters, so like the act of controlling the character itself and shooting and all that stuff is still kind of new to me.
Oh yeah.
So I'm definitely coming. I just want to make it very, very clear that I'm coming from a place of inexperience. Having said that, though, Kevin was saying
noob.
Yeah, I'm a bot, as Aaron would call it.
I would take that as a compliment.
So yeah, Kevin was saying, the part of the game that he enjoys the most is just kind of traversing the world with his buds, which I'm very flattered for, and overcoming adversity and all that stuff. And I agree, like, because I'm not so good at the gunplay element, like I could kind of take or leave that, but the fact that I can walk around and just kind of explore the map and go find shit and be talking to you guys the whole time and coordinating or bullshitting whatever we feel like doing, I mean, that's a lot of fun. And granted, I don't think that's unique to Fortnite, but Fortnite has it, so I'm going to give it points, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When you were talking about the concert thing, I couldn't help but think of Black Mirror. Like, that sounds like an episode, like, straight out of Black Mirror. I don't know if anybody's seen that show, but...
Yeah, I mean, well, and it's kind of weird. That's where technology is evolving, because kids were posting on social media, or parents were posting on their behalf saying, like, this was my kid's first concert, thanks Marshmallow. And that's what it felt like to a lot of people. And to me, it was so immersive that it felt like a concert in a way. Obviously, it's not the same thing, especially for someone that has been to a real concert. But in a way, it felt like one. And it's kind of like, is this where the world's going? Are we going to do everything online with our friends? Are we never leaving our houses? I don't think so. But Black Mirror has changed my mind on something. So
yeah,
we'll see.
My friend Justin, he's an art teacher, and y'all both know him, but he teaches a wide range of kids, but he's like, I've banned Fortnite from being like discussed, being like whatever from my classroom. Like, you can't draw art of Fortnite. He's like, because that's all they would do. And like, they just ran around doing Fortnite dances. So like, Justin hates this game. I think it's hilarious.
Sounds about right for any teacher. I'm sure if I was a teacher, I would despise the game as well.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, the gameplay is like, it's very fun. It's very interactive. Like, it's constantly engaging because like, you're running around and you're like, okay, I need to meet this objective, which is to be the last one standing, but also to kind of, you know, gather resources and appropriate weapons along the way. And it might be that you need to go take out a squad, or it might be that, you know, you don't need to take out a squad right now. It's just that kind of coordination is really fun. And the building aspect, adding that to it, also, when you're in a team and you're like building to survive together, it does really feel like, you know, I don't know. It's just, I've always loved team games and sports and things like that. And it just felt very similar to that. And it's just really cool to see all that happen. I think this game, you know, it's popular for a reason. Yeah. Right. I don't think it just became popular just because. I know a lot of people hate on it because people just hate things that are popular. That's just the way things go.
That's me in a nutshell.
Pretty much Peter in a nutshell. But we've somehow convinced him that this was fun, and yeah, I'm glad we got the chance to.
I heard him say multiple times, I'm having a good time with you guys.
He did, so. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm really interested what this rating is going to be. I don't know. I'm on the edge of my seat, literally. But kind of backtracking what Kevin said with the building in the game, it's kind of funny if you watch trailers for the early Battle Royale stuff that they had. Their idea of what building would be was significantly different than what it has become. It has become an offensive and a defensive strategy, and it makes for an aggressive gameplay, right? Because you can run up to people, get the high ground on them, shoot a shot, and then immediately build a wall if you're a skilled player. And if you look at their trailers from the past, though, it actually, what they had envisioned was building bases with doors and archways and staircases, and it's comical to me that was their idea. And then, the community just absolutely ran with it. And I mean, you don't see bases. You don't see any of that stuff.
'Cause you could build so fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You can build fast. And like, I'm always hesitant to build anything at all unless I absolutely need to. 'Cause to me, that's just a giant ass beacon saying, hey, here I am, come shoot me. So like, I mean, and I guess it explains the name Fortnite, or the fort part of it. But like,
yeah.
Because I didn't see those early videos and I've only just now started playing the game, like the fact that they intended that is kind of mind blowing to me. Like, did they really think people would? I mean, I guess I would think the same thing if I were in their shoes, but you know, it's just kind of cool how people will take what they're given and just make something new out of it.
Yeah,
I think a old strat used to be, and I don't know if it still is a strat. You can tell us, Aaron, but like waiting till late game to then build something like super sturdy and strong, like this metal tower that people just used to build.
interestingly enough, it's not really a viable strategy anymore because
I didn't think
the skill level's so high in the game that people are just constantly looking for fights. Pretty much everyone's won their first game now, right? Everyone's won their 50th game or 100th game. I would say the average community has won over 100 games, or maybe a slightly above average.
Are you saying someone that's played every day?
Someone that puts in the average amount of game time, maybe. This is a total random number, by the way, but I'm not very good, and I probably have like over 300 wins. Once you like play a lot, then you start. It becomes easier, and less infrequent. But so now, like, I go for the highest kill win I've gotten, right? So I go extremely aggressive, and that's kind of just what the community in general does. If you build a base, then someone's immediately going to come after you and try to kill you.
If you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come. Very applicable. One thing that we haven't talked about that I think deserves talking about is, at least I think maybe in this section, if not, then we can just completely edit this out. But the watchability of this game, it's extremely entertaining, and Twitch numbers have skyrocketed from this game, and it has made gaming mainstream and cool. Which
whoa! Were you saying it wasn't cool before? Get out of this podcast. Get out of here.
I have always loved gaming, but it is now a collegiate thing. Like, people are getting scholarships for gaming.
Yeah,
it's just a highly entertaining game, and I believe that is because of the skill ceiling that there is, and just watching people that are extremely talented at the game. It's entertaining and it's fun.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I tried to look up the Twitch numbers too before Fortnite and after, how many viewers there were on average, and I couldn't find those numbers. I don't know if there's a way to find that, but I was just really curious what those numbers would be.
For Twitch, are you saying like people watching Twitch in total, or what?
Just in total, yeah. So what the number of people that watched Twitch before Fortnite and then after Fortnite started? I'm just kind of curious.
I mean, that's how we met. So, I mean, I feel like Twitch was already pretty popular. It just so happened that a lot of mainstream gamers weren't aware of Twitch, so they brought a lot of that crowd into Twitch.
Yeah, that's kind of what my question is. Like, I'm curious how high the viewership shot up after Fortnite.
I'm sure it's quite a few, but I would still say Twitch was pretty popular by this point already.
Yeah.
But one bit of criticism I'd like to throw at Fortnite, if I could. The game does feel kind of slow in its movement, and I know they've added a lot of things to help with that, but just like in general, your character running around is just slow as all get out. And sometimes it just, if you feel like, or you wish that you could do more. But I guess that does help, like with the building, it makes it that much more necessary to build. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, I wish my character could be a little more flexible or have just a little bit more movement options natively rather than using an item or something on the map to help them move.
I think that was even more noticeable after playing like Apex.
Yeah.
Or one of those, or Blackout. You really notice how slow it is after that, because you really do that. The normal running speed is kind of slow in comparison to other games.
Do you guys have auto sprint on when you play or not?
I do.
I know there's an auto sprint button, so I use that.
Yeah. Granted, I haven't played other battle royales, so I don't have that perspective, but I was kind of thinking the same thing actually the other day. Like, I feel like I'm kind of slow as a character, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I mean, I think that they probably, and this is me giving the developers a lot of credit when I don't know if they even did this on purpose, but maybe it's them like doing that to say, we want to control the pace of this game somehow. Maybe this is a good way to do that. And also the map is so huge that like it kind of exacerbates the problem that slow movement is already.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not even be necessarily that the character is so slow, but maybe the map is so big, just kind of like 6 of one, half dozen of the other kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't felt really hindered by the character speed. I just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents.
Yeah, I could see both sides of it. And Epic is huge, and we can probably talk about this later, but Epic is really big on balancing the game and making it fun for everyone. And so if it was extremely fast characters and fast paced, then it would just be that much more of an aggressive gameplay style, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, I'm kind of wondering, because the speed has always kind of been this way. So it's like, I'm wondering about the developers that were originally on the team and the developers that are on there now. I know there's a ton more than there was back then, but it's kind of like, I wonder if the original team has like gotten overshadowed at all, or like been booted out in favor of some like newer hotshot developers that they could afford.
They did just take the competitive Overwatch guy, whoever that was.
Yeah, see,
and
there you go.
The competitive lead for Epic.
Damn.
There you go.
Headhunting.
Yeah.
Are you guys about ready to move on to aesthetics?
Yeah.
I think so.
Let's give our ratings first.
Cool.
I will go first. I will give mine a hot, fresh 93.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's like super good, brah.
Super good. I can't remember where it ranks upon like all my gameplay for all the games, but I think it's pretty up there.
I think you got to go with your gut, man. If your gut says 93, I think you followed that ish.
I pretty much did, yeah.
My gut was a little less, just a little less favorable of an opinion. I gave gameplay an 80.
Okay.
And I think I would have given it a higher score if it had innovated more. I mean, granted, the building is pretty innovative for its genre, but so much of everything else is just from other games that I'm not sure I can, like, in good conscience, give it much higher than an 80.
I'm going for a 95. I got to go with my gut, and it's a game that has captivated me. And once you really dive into it, which I'm not saying that your rating would change, Peter, but with all the aspects of the game, with the building and editing, it just creates a different game every time you play. And so I feel like the gameplay is always immersive, and it's a game that I've played for a year and a half and honestly haven't gotten tired of. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
Here's another thing I think is like, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, but I think the game can be hit or miss with people. And
yeah, absolutely. As anything can be.
Right. And I think there's a lot of people who don't understand it, and they'll just immediately hate on it because that's what humans do. But I think if you really like the game, then you really like the game. If you don't, you don't. I mean, it's very dynamic in that aspect.
And if you're not a fan of shooters, then it's probably going to be hard to get into this game. Yeah. You know, it's just as simple as can be.
I mean, I'm expecting most of my scores to be kind of on the lower end just because of, well, I know what my scores are, but I feel like they're going to be generally lower than yours because of that unfamiliarity. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that if I put in, 4 times as many hours as the game as I have been, then I would probably like the gameplay more because I'd be better at it. And I think that's a natural way to feel. But I think all that stuff will kind of come out in the wash when we finish the episode.
Absolutely.
So moving on to everyone's favorite section.
Aesthetics.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel good to do that?
Feels really good. I've been waiting for so long to do that.
Well, so visuals.
Wait, can I get one more take in case that wasn't good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Aesthetics. Wait, hold on, my voice. Aesthetics.
Perfect.
I feel like you're just giving people.
Ooh, that's the one. That's the money shot right there, my boy. Yes, let's fucking go.
I actually grabbed my mic with 2 hands.
Oh, God.
And completely covered it and then did that. So
I'm going to have to edit out some low frequency rumbles for that one.
Yeah. You might need to.
Oh, my God, these audio people in here. Anyway, so visuals. Let's see. Peter, why don't you start us off here?
I'm glad you asked because I actually have like an overall observation that I wonder what you guys will think of that. So generally, this game is very cartoony looking. That's part of its appeal, part of the reason it's brought on such a huge audience. It's very colorful, very bright. Things are kind of bouncy, like they have that bouncy quality to them. Mm-hmm. Very different from the predecessors in the Battle Royale market like PUBG and also like DayZ. So here's my like observation that I made. I feel like this game looks very typical of mobile games and things like that. I feel like this aesthetic is just very, very common, which makes me not appreciate it quite as much. But then here's my other question is that the default aesthetic because Fortnite made it so? Or was it already existing before Fortnite? And I think it was kind of existing before Fortnite a little bit. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I would say I don't really know what game you would be referencing in that, what it looks like. The art style is a little bit different, I feel like, than I get that it's cartoony, but that doesn't make it like most games.
Well, no, like I'm just saying I can't cite any specific examples because I'm a dummy, but like I feel like every time I'm on YouTube and I see an ad for some mobile video game, it always looks like Fortnite. Or like the cutscenes, it might not be the actual gameplay footage, but the cutscenes always look like Fortnite. And just like, I don't know, like...
I think that might have become the move, right? If you're marketing or creating something, you kind of go with what's popular, or what's proven to be successful. And so I think that could possibly, I'm sure it has existed before Fortnite, that similar look. Because obviously cartoony games have existed.
Yeah.
But I think they have taken a nice spin on it. And I actually I have always played realistic Call of Duty styled games. And one thing that made me really appreciate Fortnite was, I remember reading somewhere why or at least one benefit of them going down the cartoony route is it's timeless. Like, the graphics will never look bad.
Ooh,
because that's the look that they're going for, right? And so if we play a Call of Duty from like 4 or 5 years ago, then we're gonna be like, these graphics look a little outdated, right? So I thought that was an interesting take on that.
Those are some good moves right there. It amazes me how people can market like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But the high, I will say that it is like a very polygon oriented like game. So it's like, you don't have like super high textures and stuff like that, right? It's like there is a style of video game like development that you can do. You can go out and on the Unity asset stores, right? You can go out and you can get low poly to 3D like models, and you can go out and you can do that. And that's kind of what it kind of seems like, but it's not low poly. I would say there's quite a bit of like effort into the modeling that's put in there, like to keep the style all one thing. But I don't know, I kind of like it.
I have a technical question for you, Kevin. With there being so many players in one server, they technically kind of have to cut back a little bit on graphics and stuff like that, right? Or is that not accurate?
Well, I think there's some things that they can do a workaround for, like kind of like the player's field of vision. Almost, they don't have to render everything on the map. Just what you see is being rendered by the GPU, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then the CPU is just everything that's off in the distance and whatnot. But I think there's some magical stuff that developers can do. And I've never worked on a game like that, so I don't exactly know. That's just my hunch.
Yeah.
But
makes sense.
Not really, because I don't think they had to, because you see other games that look pretty good online, like PUBG and all that stuff. Now, to some extent...
Wait.
I'm sorry, not PUBG. Apex. I meant Apex.
Yeah, but Apex has only like 60 people on the map, don't they? Or something
right,
like
and
that.
there is some quality that you do have to sacrifice, but I wouldn't say that... I mean, playing with 60 people on a server is still quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can still make the game look pretty good online.
Yeah, Apex does look really nice. I'll give them that for sure.
Think about when Halo 5 first came out and stuff like that. Now, I will say that is a reason Halo didn't incorporate couch multiplayer, which really upset a lot of people because that's where Halo came from. But we're not going to get into Halo.
Yeah, especially because we've already gotten into that in a past episode, I think.
Right, yeah. You could tell I'm very hurt about it, but yeah.
Still hurt.
I want to make a comment about the user interface because I feel like it's pretty bland. I feel like the font choices they use are really generic and seem kind of like defaulty. And this is me. For those who don't know, I am a professional graphic designer, so I know what I'm talking about here. Even the title screen, like when you load up the game, the title screen is like 2 character models who aren't even, they're not like live models, they're just PNGs or whatever, and like some really generic ass background. And I'm like, this game has, regardless of my comments about it being like a default aesthetic, like the cartoony thing, and that's just my opinion again, or my perspective, it's still like a really nice looking game, and there's a lot of, distinct parts of the map that are really colorful and vibrant and all that stuff. Like, you could make a title screen out of that. You could incorporate that into your menu somehow. You could give us more than one like loading screen to look at when I'm waiting for my 20th game of the night. Like, there's only one render, I think, or only one that I've ever seen. I just feel like they really phoned in the user interface element, and it just kind of pisses me off because I think there's a lot of potential they missed out on.
If you would have seen the game a year ago, or even less than a year ago, the UI, then you would be like giving this the lowest rating in the world too, because it was as plain as could be. It looked like Windows XP back then. I mean, it is still evolving, but I do agree the UI is very simple.
I would say
not much there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess no one plays Fortnite for the UI, but like,
right.
I don't know. It just makes me upset to see wasted potential.
Yeah.
Half the, like, before you get into the game, half of it's just like, buy all these skins. And you're just like, okay, come on, get this out of my face.
Yeah.
Get this out of my face.
Yeah. Well, it works on the little 13-year-olds that steal their parents' credit cards and buy all the skins.
Does it work on you, Aaron?
So
how many skins have you bought?
Too many.
Yeah, let's talk about the cosmetics, because I mean that's where the game makes its fucking money.
Yeah.
There are a lot of really cool like skins that you can get, and it does kind of draw you in. Like, you do want people to, like, when you kill somebody, you do want them to see you like teabagging over their body, like, you know, like in this really cool costume,
taking the L on them.
Yeah, taking the L or whatever. What have you. And yeah, and there are those animations where you can, like, everybody can like buy an animation, which is where they really made their money, because they're so unique and creative. So I think they did a really good job with that, and I think that actually shows through how much money they made solely through that.
I mean, they have emotes, which are some of the funnest things, because then when you buy one, which I've seen this firsthand and I've experienced this firsthand, or your friend buys one, then you want to buy it to match them. So then when you win, you can do the same dance. And so the minds of Epic is just mind blowing. They have this way of making money. And it's impressive. Like the bunny hop that I did to,
God,
over your body instead of reviving you.
I'm so mad.
And that just sticks with you. And then,
get him
like,
off
if we
the
had another
podcast.
teammate, it's just the way that they have done their cosmetics, and then also not creating a competitive advantage by any cosmetics. So it also it keeps it at equal playing field, which earns respect from the whole gaming community. It's a smart strategy, and I envy them for having that idea and the ability to do so, and not me.
I feel like they will go down in history as making companies like EA, who would charge for competitive gameplay advantages, like, they'll go down in history as like making them like go to this format instead, because it was just such a better format. Like, you could see it, like Apex right there, boom, they did it. They're like, you know what, this is a better formula. Whereas a game that came around the same time, Star Wars Battlefront 2, was a disaster because they did stuff like that, and it was like pretty much pay to play, like 100%.
They unintentionally altered how the terrible road that microtransactions were going down. They were literally, EA was just destroying video games for people, and I feel like Epic inadvertently kind of altered that and changed that and showed them that there's a better way to do those things.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I still, because I am kind of stuck in the past as far as gamers go, there's still something about like the focus on microtransactions that just kind of skeezes me out a little bit. But like, at the same time, you pay $0.00 to play the damn game, so like they need to make their bread somehow.
Yeah,
and I get that,
exactly.
But I'm just, for me, I'm always like, since I'm not invested in the game, I'm like, I can never buy a single item from these guys. Like, I don't know, just it definitely feels like it still feels corporate to me, and it is, and it has to be, because that's the way that life is, I guess. But I don't know. I do admire like what they've done in the same way that you do, I think, Aaron. But it's just like, I don't know. I want to rebel against the machine sometimes. You know what I mean?
Well, I had the same mindset where I was like, this game's free to play. Why would I spend money on a skin?
That's how they win.
And then the battle pass, and then the battle pass came along. I was like, okay, $10, something to work towards. And then you earn V-Bucks through the battle pass. And you're like, oh, I want to buy the skin. Oh, but I need to buy another battle pass next time because I spent the V-Bucks on this random emote. So they make you love the game, and then they make you think that you owe them something, which is I don't know. It's another psychological thing that they are just brilliant at.
Yeah, and I also kind of think about it from this perspective. As a developer perspective, I'm like, I definitely want to, get my developers paid because they put in insane hours and work, like just like trying to make that stuff work. And if you're like, oh, I don't want to pay anything to them, it's just kind of like, you don't want to pay me.
At the same time, though, I mean, that's on them for making the game free to play. So if there's people out there like me who are happy to play the game and not spend any money, then I mean, that's just comes with the territory.
Yeah. But at the same time, though, if you want a game to like stay relevant and keep being updated, you got to pay the developers over time and not just pay them in one large sum. Is there anything else we want to talk about in terms of visuals?
I guess just the terrain is always changing with a volcano and then a huge ice mountain, and it's always changing. You go to some desert area, so it keeps it fresh, and it's a new scenery every time you play it, which is I guess another thing that makes people come back to it every time.
So with that being said, what did you give the visuals, Aaron, as your ranking?
I'm gonna give visuals a 90. I think there's a lot of room to improve with their, I guess rendering has been an issue at times, especially for like consoles. I have like a higher end PC now, but I think they spend too much time on the content and not the mastering of the game itself. And so I think they have a lot of room to improve there, but overall, I do think it's a pretty scenery. I enjoy it. It's something that's timeless, so I'll give it a 90.
Cool. Yeah, I actually gave it a 90 as well.
Sweet.
So we're on the same page on that point. Like you said,
nice.
Has some room for improvement, but overall really good. Looks clean, looks bright, looks vibrant. All the cosmetics are pretty cool. The UI does look not really bad, but not that great to Peter's point. So there's some criticisms, but I think mostly overall it looks really solid.
For sure.
I gave it an 80, just like I did gameplay. And also, I do want to say, like, if I play the game more and I participated in, buying all the skins and I saw all the cool stuff they did, I think I'd appreciate the visuals more. But as it is, like, something about the aesthetic just doesn't quite do it for me. I think it's just personal preference, honestly. Like, I agree it's timeless. I mean, that's one reason why people love, like, the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and all these other games that are like that. But I don't know, for me, I just couldn't quite get into it, and I really do like despise the way that the interface looks most of the time. I don't know, man.
I think it's good having a fresh perspective for someone that hasn't fallen in love with the game, to where Kevin and I are maybe more inclined to give them a pass on something here and there. Which I'm trying to be somewhat critical, and you'll see me be critical here in a little bit. But it's good having a fresh perspective in where you played it a little bit and we had fun, but you have some criticisms for the game.
Yeah.
So I
think that's important. I think I'm very middle of the road on this game. And
I don't know, you gave it a 93 and then a 90.
Well, we'll see what the rest of the scores are. Oh, shit. But I want to say that while all of this is happening, we're talking on Discord, and I just see, like, Aaron talking as a burger, and it's just it's like cracking me up over here while he's like talking. Like, it's just like the green light is lighting up while he's talking. It's just this burger.
It's a good looking burger.
Yeah, but he's juicy,
thick.
But anyway, moving on to audio because we need to move along with this podcast. But Aaron,
okay, what'd I do?
What do you think about the audio for this game, Aaron?
Oh, so I'm just going first. Yeah. Is that what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm very prepared. So the audio, this is where I start to get critical.
Ooh.
I have played this game a lot, and my friends and I that play this a lot, obviously when I'm playing with you guys, I'm purely just having fun. I don't expect to win, no offense, but y'all don't play the game.
Oof.
I know, I'm so sorry. But I have fun in that format as well. But when I play with my friends, we get a little more competitive. And I tend to, I'm a competitive person in nature. I tend to get pretty frustrated with the audio. Sometimes the spatial audio can be pretty bad. And it used to be significantly worse.
True.
You literally, if you were in a building, you could not tell if someone was above or below you. There was no way of knowing because the footsteps sounded the same. They have improved a little bit to where they make it a little higher pitched if they're below you and a little like deeper sounding if they're above you. It's still hard to tell. And then if you have multiple people around you, then it just kind of gets really muddied out. The footsteps aren't bright enough, in my opinion. That would be, I think, one way that they could improve it. And then I don't know. Sometimes the spatial audio is just off. It's just entirely off. I think overall it's usually accurate, but there's most competitive shooter games are a lot better than this one. So they have a lot of room to improve.
I'm kind of glad you mentioned that because I noticed I was having trouble telling if someone was behind me or in front of me. And I was wearing headphones, and usually there's some like phasing tricks you can do to make a sound behind you instead of in front of you. But I'm not sure what the standard is, and it sounds like the standard across this genre is usually higher from what you're saying. So that's kind of just interesting context to have.
Yeah, I would say like I've played it so much, I know always if someone's behind or to the left, and I can usually pinpoint where it is. But once there's building and stuff like that added onto it, then it just gets a little muddy, or there's more people around and shooting. I just don't think it's mixed well at all. I think spatially it can be really weird for someone that plays other games. So like for you, for instance, you're not used to Fortnite's format of their spatial audio, but I guess I'm just so used to it that I'm able to pinpoint generally where they are. But it's just kind of wonky. It's not normal. And in my opinion, it has a lot of room for improvement. But I think beyond the gameplay aspect, there's music. There's a lot of music in Fortnite. With every emote, there's some sort of track. And as an amateur musician and producer myself, I really appreciate what they do with the music. I think it's really good, and it's impressive how many new songs, new tracks they pump out that are catchy and that people are always dancing to. And so I will say that on the other end is really good, and it's an amazing marketing strategy.
I actually kind of disagree about like the music. I didn't find any of them to be too substantial. Like I can't really recall any specific ones other than and I would hear Peter. You hear Peter do that all the time.
I think we just completed the song all together. I just clipped really bad. I'm sorry, Peter.
Oh God, you haven't seen my waveform. My waveform's like a sausage over here.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. So you get the point. Other than the very default ones, I can't say that I've.
Another default one.
Exactly. You know the default ones, but what's the soundtrack to this game, right? Like what? I don't even know. Like I know, kind of like a Superman kind of thing, but.
Can I speak to that a bit, actually?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Because that's, for me, again, being the noob/bot of the group, all I experienced was, like, the menu music, which I'll rant about in a second, and the default emote. And maybe, like, whatever emotes you guys happen to be using, which I don't think you guys, like, used all that many while we were playing. So, again, there's a lot of audio content I'm missing out on, so I'm just kind of basing this off my own experience. It sounds like Aaron really appreciates all the extra emotes. Kevin doesn't necessarily share that viewpoint, so I guess I'll trust you guys in that regard. But I do want to talk about the other music, the music that you always have to hear because it's in the lobby and in the menu. And again, kind of like the UI, I feel like it's pretty generic ass fucking.
I do have one thing to add that maybe will change.
Can I finish my point first, though?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So when you're on the menu, either in the lobby or on the main menu, they just have this kind of generic like orchestral track that has, you know, some strings, some electric guitar, some like timbales or timpanis. That's the word I'm thinking of. And it just kind of sounds like a generic score for like any scene, any vaguely epic scene in any movie ever. And it's just like, and it just kind of repeats that and does whatever. And it's like, just once again, I feel like it's a missed opportunity. Then they just phoned it in, like kind of what they did with the UI. And I mean, I fully understand that people don't play Fortnite for the lobby and they don't play it for the main menu. But like, I don't know, man, just like polish your shit, you know, like.
Can I say my thing now?
Sure, you can say your thing now.
So with battle passes and you can actually earn a couple free ones as well. You earn main menu tracks by playing the game.
Now that I don't know if I agree with
that's
that.
That's why I was trying to.
Oof.
Why don't you agree with that?
I do agree with paying for, like, it's menu music. Like, when have you ever had to pay for menu music?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can earn a couple free ones as well,
but still, like
without even having to pay.
I don't know about that one. I get the cosmetics and I get like in-game stuff, but why do I have to earn menu music? Just so you can, for my own sanity, right? I mean, it's just like, so I don't have to listen to the default. Like, that's like, man, that'd be like if Super Smash Bros. Was like, all right, you can use these menu musics, but like, you got to pay for them. And it's just like, you mean for me to hear like Legend of Zelda soundtrack on the menu, I got to pay this amount of money for it? I don't know if I agree with that.
I think let me frame it this way, and I think this might kind of solidify what Kevin is saying. Like when you're talking about the menu and it's like your entry point to the game, I think then it becomes an issue of the game not putting its best foot forward. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not the game itself.
It's like if I show up to a job interview and I'm wearing like some bullshit, and then like, you know, I'm not dressed well or whatever, and then they hire me for some reason because I'm so handsome anyway, and then I show up and like then I start dressing up. It's like, that's kind of what it seems like to me, just to throw some bullshit analogy at the wall and see if it sticks or not. Like, does that make any sense?
I'm gonna
kind of a little bit.
I'm gonna disagree with both you, and I'm gonna take this away from Fortnite. I'm a business mind. I'm always thinking about some business idea, or whatever. And you don't give away your best things for free. You make people love you, love your general thing, whatever it is, your product. And then you have, things added on. That's how you earn money. That's how you are a business. And so from my perspective, think it's nothing but smart on their side. I mean, it's more incentive to buy the battle pass. And I know, like, from the outside looking in, it's like, oh, that's shady, but I think it's smart. I don't know. That's just my point of view.
See, I don't know. I mean, we can have disagreements. That's fine. But I think from a developer's perspective, I will just say this: you put your complete product forward. This is what I admire in developers, especially game developers nowadays. And this is what I did admire about Fortnite, but I think in this regard they fall short. But you have your product, it's complete and whatever. That includes your menus. I don't want to pay to have more menus and like menu theme songs. Like, that's not substantial at all. That doesn't do anything other than give me something nice to listen to. I don't even have to listen to the menu music. I could just listen to my own music if I wanted to. Like, come on, you could just throw that in there. That's not a significant amount of work. What I think you should pay for is perhaps customizable things and stuff like that. But as you should have a product as a whole, it should be complete. And it's starting to feel like they're chopping up their product into pieces and making you paying for each part of the product, which is part of the problem that EA had, but not quite in the same way, because it would be a competitive advantage. Sure, it's smart. They make the most money off of it, but it's not like they need money from menu music.
I think I think both perspectives are valid, but like, we as individuals can choose which one we agree with. You know what I mean? Like I am not an enterprising person, to the contrary of Aaron. I do not have 20 YouTube channels and 50 Twitter accounts, trying to always be on that hustle. So like for me, like I don't give a shit if that's the way that the company makes money. Like if I don't like it, then I don't like it, and that's that. You know, like
yeah,
but I think that everyone here is saying things that are like logical and grounded in some sort of good reason. So I don't think any of us are like bullshitting here.
It's just menu music is so like that's just like a get like that's how you draw people into your game, and I do think it's a missed opportunity because the menu, like when you open a game, you're like ready for the game. They have an opportunity to be like have some catchy music there that's like, oh yeah, get you excited for the game. You're like, all right, yeah, let's get this started. Instead, it's like womp womp womp. Like I don't know.
Was that Chariots of Fire there, Kevin?
Yeah, pretty much. But like, I feel like it might even be a smarter marketing move to have a better theme song at the very least, have a better piece of menu music that you could use to catch people in, but instead you got to pay for better ones. Like, why can't you just have good content to start with and then we can pay for better content as you go?
I want to say one last mic drop, and then I think we need to move on to another part of audio because we're kind of going on a rant here.
Yeah.
So the opposite example of this is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch, released in 2018. Shout out to my boy Z-Link, who's probably going to disagree with me, but that menu music is such a fucking banger.
I think it's pretty good, yeah.
I don't care if I hear it 20 million times a day.
Is it just one track?
Just one track. And you can unlock a customization feature by playing through some other mode. You don't have to pay for it, but you do have to put in a lot of game time. But like,
well, that was my point, is you do get a couple free tracks by playing the game as well. You're not forced for that one track.
Thanks, Epic.
Okay, anyway, I think we need to talk about...
I think the mic is dropped at this point.
I agree, Peter.
Okay, I have a brief comment on sound effects, because that's another thing we talk about.
Yes.
I found them to be pretty ordinary. Nothing really caught my ear as being particularly distinct, and combining that with Aaron's observation of the spatial design not being too great also doesn't build a super strong case for the SFX. I will say the one that like really caught my ear, and this is something that I didn't notice until I played by myself wearing headphones, is that when you're harvesting a resource, aka demolishing a wall, like the little circles that pop up and you follow the circles and you can harvest the thing faster, those actually play a scale when you get them consecutively, which is really cool actually. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's neat. But that was the only thing that made me think, oh, that's neat, out of the whole game's audio. So
that's pretty neat. And that's, interestingly enough, one of the few things, and I'm not exaggerating, one of the very few audio things that have not changed from the start of the game.
Yeah,
really.
Is that little scale. Everything else has, for the most part, changed in some way, small or very drastic. So like just the regular AR, that sound changed, shotguns, everything.
That's so interesting that they do that. Like,
yeah, it's because before it was very plain. The game was, I implore you to watch the game from like September 2017, Peter, and see how different it is now. It's a different game. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, that's one of the few things that have stuck though. That's kind of my point here, is that's like the only thing, interestingly enough.
Real quick, I'm going to say I like the sound effects in general. I think they're silly and they're kind of fun, but I don't know if they're like amazing, but they're pretty fun. So, with that said, let's give our ratings. Pete Boy, what did you give audio?
I gave it a 75. I found it, I think it does the job, but there are missed opportunities, and I think that, again, this is me not knowing the emotes, blah, 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 you know the drill. First impression is a 75.
I gave it a 77.
Oh, wow.
So
I thought you were going to give it
similar.
Pretty much. I thought you were going to give it more of a higher score than me. I'm surprised.
Nope. I think we're pretty on par with this one.
Menu music.
I'm going to give it actually an 85, and I'll break that into two categories, with the spatial audio being like a really like low, like a 70, and then whatever makes it an 85 for the music, because I I genuinely love the music, and
it would have to be over 100, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think you're right. No, because
no, it doesn't. No,
100 would and 70 would
95.
I don't know.
Anyway,
no.
170 would make it 85.
Yeah,
so, there you go. Fact checkers.
Well, anyways, the music. Well, when me and the friends, the buds that normally play the game, which I wish was you guys, but y'all don't ever want to play with me. Whenever we normally play the game, we're like humming the songs, some of the emotes, and we don't even realize it. It's just really catchy, and I don't know. I like some of the tracks, and I think they're bops, as the cool kids say.
Listen, Aaron, we'll play more Fortnite with you if you play more Rocket League with us. That is a straight up truth.
If y'all get a GoFundMe started and pay for Rocket League,
I'll just pay for the damn game.
It's like $12 or $15.
That's like one Fortnite skin.
Oh my God! Moving on to content. Moving on
Everyone's
to
other
favorite section. God dang it, Aaron.
Which we've already talked a lot about actually throughout the whole rest of this show.
So we could just go ahead and give our ratings for content.
I kind of want to point or talk about one thing.
Sure.
Unless someone else wants to go first. I thought we were going for the ratings real quick. The content is fun.
Wow, that was convincing.
But here's the issue. They every week, not exaggerating, they add a new gun or a new item to the game, and it becomes annoying after a while. It's to keep the very casual crowd entertained, right? Because they don't necessarily win a lot, the ones that play every now and then, but they have something to look forward to when they play. They found this new gun. Oh, it's fun. But for somebody that, spends a few, or at least used to spend quite a few hours playing the game, whether it be like on the weekends, I usually would play a pretty good bit with my friends, and it just got annoying that like there was constantly this new weapon that was the new OP weapon. You thought you finally got the hang of the game, and then next thing you know, there's this new weapon that someone just killed you with, and you don't even know what it was because it just came out. It just came out 3 days ago, and you didn't read the patch notes, and so you're way behind. I think it's too flooded. There's too much stuff in the game constantly being added.
Yeah, I agree with that. But Aaron, I thought you were a fan of business models. I thought you were a business thinking man. This should only amplify your feelings about the game.
Well, I see, and that's kind of where they're making me not enjoy the game, and a lot of my friends and a lot of the community that I like, the subreddit that I follow and whatnot, and a lot of the streamers are not enjoying the game because of that. And it might be short-term success for them, but I don't think it's going to turn into long-term success for them, like League of Legends has conquered or whatever. So I don't know that it's necessarily the best business model either.
Right.
But aside from that, it's ruining my experience personally. Hearing the same track over and over again doesn't ruin my experience because I can turn it off and listen to Spotify if I wanted to.
Exactly. We don't need that game music.
Yeah, but I do turn the game music on because I enjoy it, and I turn it on shuffle, so it changes every time. But that's neither here nor there.
Do you have to pay for the shuffle feature?
No, you do not. Peter.
All right. You got me.
Speaking from... That was good.
What a great episode. I love this. We should review Fortnite every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We should review Fortnite every fortnight. Oh my fucking God.
Because it changes that often.
Did I just solve the Interstate Gamers?
I think you did.
I think you did.
So we should mention what patch this is in the title. 3.6.
Not right now. Okay.
Anyway, but I think to Aaron's point, it's like there is in software development, there is kind of and it depends upon your business model. And like a lot of companies strive for what they call continuous integration, which is where like you roll out an update and everything gets sent out automatically. And that update is just bam, it's out. Now, Fortnite doesn't do that because they have to go through a bunch of testing, and their testing is primarily through gameplay testers, so I'm sure they have some kind of process for that. So
I don't think they do. I think it's us.
Yeah.
I think we're the guinea pigs because there's a lot of messed up things and then they fix it the next day.
And you might be right? So, I mean, their model for software testing is a little bit different than like just plain software that's not a game, right? It's a little bit different, but at the same time, there's like, it's kind of the same process. I think the weekly updates, even for just like software updates, is also annoying for people who use software, right? Because they use the software and, you know, they're having a good old time and all of a sudden change that they are normally used to. And they're like, what the hell? And then they call in support and they're like, blah, 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 this is stupid. And then support relays that back to the team. And they're like, oh yeah, we did do this, yada, yada, yada. But speaking from a software developer's perspective, I see the other side. And this is why we don't update. I mean, we would like to update more often than we do in my company. But like, if we were to update every week, we'd probably have customers yelling at us all the time. So I don't necessarily think it's a good model. I think they should update. If they want to just do it maybe every 2 weeks, but it is a little bit too often.
Every fortnight.
Well, and I think the issue with that is, so there was an article that came out kind of exploiting Epic and how their developers are under immense stress, constantly working. It's called crunch time in the tech world, right? And they're constantly under that because not only are they creating new guns, new things, and this is kind of what the community thought was probably happening, and then it came out that it was, they're creating new things, and those things have bugs, and they can't fix the other things that have bugs because now they have to fix those things that have bugs, and it just continually exponentially piles up, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, and I guarantee you they have a dedicated team fixing those bugs. Like there's what they call a feature team, and those people are working on new features. And so then when they make something new, then the other team has to come in and be like, oh, shit, why did they do this? Why didn't they just make this complete? Because they have a deadline, and the higher-ups are like, you better get this out. It has definitely become very much a corporate style game. And to some extent, that became necessary because they wanted to keep the ship going, but they've made it too involved, I think. And that turns a lot of people off, not just the developers who are like, oh, I hate my life, but I make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I kind of want to turn the conversation towards like the different types of game modes and kind of that type of content.
Yeah.
Because there have been some interesting little variations of the Battle Royale thing that I've seen in my short time playing the game. And I haven't really enjoyed this content to the extent that someone who is familiar with the game might enjoy it. So once again, disclaimer about that. But for example, there's not only are there the different team comps you can do, you know, solo, duos, squads, which I think is 3 or 4. And then there's also other things like Team Rumble, which is a time-limited format where it's basically just a traditional deathmatch. I think we agreed while we tried it out, it wasn't really all that great, but some people might feel differently. There's other kind of silly things too, like a floor is lava mode that I saw, which seemed kind of interesting, but I didn't play it because I was, you know, not really feeling like doing a gimmicky thing. But you know, they it looks like they put some decent amount of effort to add variety to what would otherwise be like literally the same game mode every time. Whether or not it's successful, I think, is up to the player and up to us as individuals to decide, but they do at least attempt to do that.
Yeah, perhaps they could give themselves more of a buffer if they worked on their other modes and were more successful with their other modes. I guess creative mode is a little more successful than most, like Save the World or whatever. But like they might have a little more time to work on Battle Royale if they didn't focus on it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering how much we should talk about creative mode, because I think it's probably different for different platforms, but I, as a Switch user, have creative mode built into my download of Battle Royale. Actually, when I download the game, it's just called Fortnite. Like, I don't think it's even called Fortnite Battle Royale, just because by this point, Battle Royale is synonymous with Fortnite. So I don't know how much we should talk about creative mode. And actually, I don't know if I can create on my Switch. Maybe I can just play only. I haven't really tried it.
You can create.
I can create. Okay.
Even on mobile. Yeah.
Okay. So that's actually really cool. You guys and I were playing around with some fan-made modes. There was one that was a race, which I I think was executed poorly, but the fact that someone could do it is pretty cool. They just need to practice.
You would make a much better race course.
I would make a much better track. We'd be flying around those hairpin curves like a motherfucker. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you don't like the base game, then the extra content is going to do it for you because it's all just themes and variations. But if you're a person who really enjoys the mechanics, but you want to, just spice things up in the bedroom every so often, then maybe you can go ahead and try these modes. But I do love customization in games. That's not a secret. So the fact that I have creative mode available at all is a plus for me.
Right. And I think that's a very good point. I think just having creative mode there and having that option, especially for people who enjoy the game, is very needed, I think, because even people who love the game can get tired of battle royale mode. So I think they acknowledge that. So they're like, oh, and people like doing silly random crap in the game, so why not just give them the ability to do it forever? And they're like, oh yeah, that would be great. Or make their own kind of game with the Fortnite mechanics. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, there's all kinds of mini games you can create. I've even seen someone that created literally a pinball where you are in one of those baller things and you get launched around and hit these things that bounce you and you can earn points and hit coins. It's really interesting, all the different game modes you can do. I think obviously Battle Royale has the majority of players, but there's a good crowd that purely enjoys the creative mode and has fun creating things there. So it appeals to a large crowd with that alone.
And another thing I think you kind of alluded to, well, not really alluded to, you said you can create on mobile. And I think the accessibility of this game is actually really nice. You can play with anyone, anywhere almost. It's just like, I think that's really nice.
It is entirely cross-platform. We actually forgot to mention that, and that's a pretty big fucking deal.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, that's the first ever, if I'm not mistaken, for mobile to PC and everything in between to be able to play together in one game.
They kind of like force PlayStation to be like, hey, you know what, people aren't gonna like you if you're not cross-platform.
I mean, Xbox and PlayStation are playing together. Could you picture that 3 years ago?
No, Fortnite definitely changed the crossplay world. Like, it just opened that up, and so then Rocket League was able to follow suit because everybody's just trying to play Fortnite together, and it's just like, wow, the game really changed a lot for people. But that being said, I will give some criticism as to, like, other than Battle Royale mode, I mean, despite with creative mode, I haven't had a lot of experience with creative mode because I kind of stopped playing right before all that stuff came to fruition. But I don't know, the game modes don't really interest me, and this is because they put all their money into Battle Royale, and it's good, but I'm not inclined to play it over and over and over again for a year and a half. I don't know how you did it, Aaron, but I think it's a good game. And it is very replayable, obviously, because that's kind of the nature of the game. But I'm just not, I don't know. I think it needs a little more than just that one thing. And I get there's like squads, duos, and whatever, but I just can't. I don't know. I've never been a guy who's played all Call of Duty Online over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I did play Call of Duty for an entire year until like 5 a.m. every day. I'm kind of I'm that type of person where I get really passionate about one thing and do that one thing for a long time.
Yeah.
That's my personality. And so it doesn't surprise me that y'all aren't into that necessarily. Just that's kind of how I work. I'm not alone in this, which gives me some security. At least I'm not like some random freak that has been playing this game for forever.
Yeah, no, I definitely, yeah. But I just wish they had more modes, I guess, is pretty much my only point. That were a little bit more fun. Instead of relying on other people to be creative, why couldn't they be more creative?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
I think it's a really cool thing to get the community involved with creating things in creative mode.
Yeah.
But I do agree that their limited time modes tend to be redundant. And if they maybe didn't work on a new weapon every week, they could work on really cool limited time modes that are more unique.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
I definitely I agree with you on that point.
At the same time, though, you are paying $0 for the base
True.
game. So like all the game
Unless
modes
you're
and
buying
stuff.
all the tracks.
Yeah, like all the all the game modes you're getting for free. So I kind of understand that, but that doesn't mean I have to enjoy it.
Agree.
Well, I kind of
ready.
I'm good.
Content
I'm good.
out.
I'm good. I'm content.
All right, I will give my score first. I gave it a hot, fresh 80.
80. All right.
I thought it was pretty good for a $0 game. You know,
For a $0 game. I gave it an 86. So a little bit higher than that, but I think it's pretty solid. But at the same time, it's like you need a little bit more to it, I think, to get me interested.
I'm curious what goes into your rating system with it always being like a 93 or an 86 or like a 72.
I have the spreadsheet pulled up, and I'm like, okay, these games do this, and I take a lot into consideration.
Kevin is very comparative. I'm a little more gut feeling, and I just like round numbers, so I just give it multiples of 5.
Pretty much.
I more so lean towards the multiples of 5 because I'm kind of with you on the gut feeling thing. But I give this a 91.237. No, I'm just kidding. I give it a 90.
We'll put you down as a 90.
Obviously, with the content, I am drawn in, right? I play it all the freaking time. It's the only game I play, but I also am increasingly frustrated, especially once they got rid of my beautiful pump. Rest in peace. I get frustrated with how often it's too flooded. The loot pool is, I feel like I'm familiar with the game finally, and then something game breaking changed and they add a sword that like can kill everybody with one swing. No
Thanos.
Exaggeration.
They literally put Thanos into the game, so
at least Thanos was a LTM, but they did add a sword to the game. Mind you, during a tournament weekend, and it like literally was, it doubled your health and made you twice as fast. It was just game breaking, right? And so I don't really like how they do too much content, right? How they are constantly adding things.
Right.
So that docks it down a lot for me. I think if it had a decent amount of improvement and changing, then it would be really close to a 100 for me, but it sits at a 90 for me with kind of being frustrated a little bit.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I think that's very valid. And we will take those considerations and all those numbers into our number crunching time. So, Pete, cue the number crunching music.
Hey.
Yeah.
Boys, are we doing the music now? I didn't write down my numbers.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
I just realized.
Aaron.
Well, guys, we're back. We had to do some actual number crunching this time. Really pushing the bounds of Kevin's beautiful database and spreadsheet. But we're back with some numbers. I will start off with the summary of my scores. Gameplay, I gave an 80. Visuals, I also gave an 80. Audio, I gave a 75. So that combined with visuals makes for an aesthetics rating of 77.5. And my content, I gave an 80. So all that being said, my final score for the game is a 79.2. Kev, you want to follow up?
Yeah. So gameplay, I gave a 93. Visuals, a 90. Audio, a 77. My aesthetics rating is then an 83.5. And then my content is an 86, bringing my overall to an 87.5.
Nice.
Sweet. I guess I'll go. My gameplay is a 95.
Correct.
And then my visuals is a 90. And audio an 85, which makes my aesthetics an 87.5. And my content, aesthetics.
Nice.
There we go. You just edit that in. They won't even know.
Seamless.
And then my content, I gave it a 90. Man, I am struggling now at this point. It's been, an hour and a half. I'm going downhill. But anyways, all that, my average is 90.8. Or my overall score, I guess I should say.
Cool. And so that brings our overall score to an 85.8 across the board. That's the IG score. And that puts it the 16th game out of 25. So that's like a pretty midway game. Like that's and we've got some good games on here. Don't get it twisted. But it's pretty in the middle of the road out of all our 25 games. And I think I'm pretty satisfied with the 85.8. You know, I think if you were to ask most of the population, I think they wouldn't put Fortnite at their favorite games of all time, but I wouldn't say they would say it's a horrible game. I mean, some might because of just sheer hate of something popular. But yeah.
Did you happen to look at the Metacritic beforehand?
You know, I don't know if they. Let me do some real quick. I don't know what you call internet crunching. Oh, you know what? For PC, it's an 81.
Oh, okay.
Xbox is an 85.
PS, it's 78.
Yeah. But anyway, I feel pretty good about this rating. Pete, what about you?
I agree. I think, like I said earlier, my prophecy that everything would come out in the wash kind of came true, so I'm pretty happy with this.
Aaron, how do you feel?
I think it's a great game. I love it, obviously. I think it has changed lives for a lot of people, and I think it has changed the gaming scene overall. So I think if you don't enjoy the game, that's absolutely fine. I completely understand. But I think it does need to be respected from what it has done for the gaming community.
And I think it will by at least professional gaming standards. And like, oh, remember Fortnite? You know, that'll be a thing in like 20 years. I mean, I'd probably still be going, but, you know, it's kind of like World of Warcraft.
Season 80 by then.
Season 80, but like, you know, everybody's like, oh, yeah, World of Warcraft, I used to play that. It's going to be as iconic as that.
Yeah.
So every so often you get games like that, and I think that's really cool.
Yep.
It's an important game no matter how you slice it.
Yes, I agree.
Well, boys, this has been fun. I've had an amazing amount of just good discussions.
The Kev exhale.
And I just want to say I love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you too.
And even though I wasn't in Aaron's wedding party, I still feel closer to him than ever.
God.
Really, Aaron coming onto our show is kind of like vows when you really think about it.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming, and Aaron, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show.
I'm glad I could be on it, and I'm glad we could review Fortnite and have a good discussion on it. And Peter, I'm glad you gave it a decent review, and I had fun playing with you guys this week. So it's been an honor being on the show and playing with you guys.
We'd bring you back for more episodes, but you don't really play any other games, so...
That's a good point. If we ever review Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the first one, I played that game.
Second one?
So much. No, I actually played the first one. I played the second one too, but the first one was like my binge game. Like,
dang, hipster over here.
Yeah, what can I say?
So let me get our usual IG plugs out of the way, and then we'll turn it over to our good friend Aaron Miller. You can find us on Twitter at the IG_cast. I believe that is also our handle on Instagram. Although, to be honest, I'm not the social media expert. That is definitely Kevin and Katie's court. Twitter and IG are where it's happening, though. As always, just Google it if you want to find us. You can listen to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, and other random crap. We want to shout out our Patreon subscribers, which actually I think, Kevin, you should do, because I think you have that list handy.
Yes. So, obviously, my beautiful fiance, Katie.
Yeah, we know.
I just got to say that every time, you know. Until she's my wife, which will be coming later this year, the new Kev update.
Coming later this year.
Mallory Sutton, and then Ryan Everett, and then Seth Webb and Simon Webb. So shout outs to the homies. Y'all are the realists. And yeah, those are our patrons.
So Aaron, we know that I was joking about you having 50 million accounts, but you do have some new stuff in the works, so why don't you go ahead and do the honors of telling our lovely audience all this shit that you're up to?
Sure. I do have a lot of different accounts. I don't know how many different Twitter accounts I have created in my lifetime for different random things. But if you follow my main one, you might see everything else I'm doing. But the main thing that I'm really focusing on right now is my YouTube channel. Actually, if you don't know, or if you didn't follow the Yeasty Boys, we have parted, maybe not necessarily forever, but we just had been busier than normal. And so I have poured all my creative energy into a YouTube channel with kind of what have always been passionate about, and that's audio and things of that nature. So if you want to look up Ground Up Productions on YouTube, or you can look up Ground Up Pros on Twitter, and then you can find my YouTube channel through there. Then that's kind of where you can get content from one out of the two Yeasty Boys.
Hell yeah. We're going to have to get Jason to do some random endeavor so that we can also direct people his way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Maybe I'll have him on my YouTube channel every now and then to give some expertise on some sort of subject, like language, words, and stuff.
I do want to say that, so I'm not an audio recording specialist. That's definitely Aaron's court, not mine. But I am a music producer, and I have been for a long time. So I can tell you when something sounds good, and I can verify that Aaron's tutorials on how to make things sound good do actually result in good audio.
Aww.
So if you needed to hear a Yelp review, that is mine. Definitely go check out his stuff.
Thanks, man. Means a lot.
Anytime. Also want to shout out some other people kind of in our network. We have our good friends, the Secret Levels podcast, who have been staunch supporters of us pretty much since they've started, I feel. We linked up at some point, and they've been supporting the show, and we've been supporting them back.
Love you guys.
Love you guys, definitely. Got to shout out Z-Link Gaming, who started a new playthrough of Mario and Luigi Partners in Time for the Nintendo DS. He finished his Superstar Saga playthrough recently, and he started this new one, and I'm very excited to see how this goes. He also has a Patreon, so consider subscribing to him via Patreon if you enjoy his content, or also just subscribe to him on YouTube if you want to dip your toe in the water, see how it feels. There was another note I wrote down here. Oh, it says Aaron. Okay, we already shouted out Aaron. He's done. So I think that's it.
I guess that's it.
I think that's it for this episode. You guys ready to GTFO?
Yeah, this was a long one, right?
Yeah, this was.
It's about an hour and a half or so. So, yeah, it's a good discussion. I figured it might go there, which is kind of odd because I didn't really write down many notes. But you know what? I had a good time, and I think, you know what? Fortnite's an iconic game, so it's very justified.
I think we had some good disagreements too, but very like valid points were made, and I think we all can come to an agreement that it's a fun game, and this was a good discussion. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Nope, I hated it. Goodbye, everyone.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you on season 3, episode 5. Yeah, 5. Love you too.
All right, love you too, guys.
Bye, girl.
Sweet.
Awesome. What a good episode. That was a fucking banger.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.